Hi, I'm Rick Hurd, PGA professional and Director of Operations with the Don Law Golf Academy in Boca Raton, Florida. I'm also the president of the Southeast chapter of the South Florida PGA, and I'd like to introduce you to a new concept of a show for the Golf Channel called the Poor Richard's Golf Academy. Now, the Poor Richard's Almanac was something made famous by Ben Franklin, and the almanac was all about taking everyday life and making things simple and practical, and that's what I think we should do. So the Poor Richard's Golf Academy is that same approach applied to the golf swing. It's a pragmatic, practical approach, making everything simple. And it's all structured around a few proverbs, or proverbs, as they were in the almanac. Proverbs are things like, haste makes wasted strokes, too many thoughts makes bad shots. And my favorite one that we're going to talk about today is the lefter you aim, the righter it goes. And it has all to do with alignment. So let's get started. How many of you slice the ball? Come on, raise your hands, don't be afraid. It's the most common mistake that golfers make. A lot of the problems that we have, believe it or not, come from poor fundamentals, things like posture and alignment and setup and grip. Today we're going to talk about alignment, and here's how it goes. A lot of the mistakes we make tend to travel in pairs. For example, a lot of people aim left to compensate for an open club face to make the ball come back to the right. The golfer's brain is an amazing device. It processes thousands and thousands of thoughts per second, and it takes over our golf swing when we least suspect it. And here's the way it generally goes. If I've got a slice, I'm going to set up and I'm going to aim way to the left over here, like that. And right about the time I get to the top of my backswing, my brain's going to take over and it's going to say, hey, wait a minute, I'm going to hit this thing out of bounds. So the brain takes over and it makes a few adjustments. Open club face, push the ball out to the right, do my best job to shove that ball out to the right to keep it from going left. Next thing you know, there I am in the right rough again. Now we're all pretty smart, so we start to make an adjustment. What do? Aim further left. That's not really the way we should do it. We've got to attack the problem correctly. So what we're going to do is talk about practicing like the pros. The pros know how important it is to have good alignment. They put aiming sticks down on the driving range every time they practice, and they know that a lot of little swing flaws can come from poor alignment. So let's do like the pros. Let's make an aiming station right here on the practice tee. We've got two aiming sticks. One of them is aiming right here at the target, right down the target line, and the second aiming stick is off to the left for a right-handed golfer, and it's parallel to the first aiming stick. So we set that up, and then you want to make sure that when you stand here, you put your feet parallel to the sticks. Make sure your shoulders are parallel as well. We don't want to get our shoulders going that way. We set up here, we take a nice swing right down the target line, and we're going to hit a lot of balls that way. Now what's probably going to happen is you're going to feel very uncomfortable when you set up that way because you're used to seeing the target in a different place. You're used to standing left and seeing the target out that way. So it's going to take a little bit of practice to get used to it. And what's going to happen is when you hit balls this way, if the ball's not going where you're aiming, you know it's not your aim. So the worst thing you could do is correct your alignment. Your alignment is perfect. There must be another swing flaw at work. There's only two things that influence the direction of the ball: open club face or closed club face. The club face angle is the most important, and the direction the face is traveling is very important. So we're going to narrow it down to those two things. The problem that we have is we have to work on these at the same time. The good news is it's just those two things we have to worry about. That leads me to the topic for our next week's Golf Channel session, and it's going to be two wrongs can make a right. So tune in next week for the Golf Channel's next edition of the Poor Richard's Golf Academy. Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Rick Hurd, and welcome to this week's edition of the Golf Channel's Poor Richard's Golf Academy. This week we're going to be talking about a new proverb, and it's called, two wrongs can make a right. Last week we talked about one that was called, the lefter you aim, the righter it goes, and we worked on your alignment. That was one of the wrongs. This week we're going to work on the second one, which is probably your golf club face. How do you know if your club face isn't square? Well, the way I tell is I look at the golf ball. When that golf ball flies in the air, if it has a curve on it, I know it's coming from your club face. If your club face is open and you're a right-handed golfer, that ball's going to curve to the right. If your face is closed, it's going to curve to the left. So let me show you how I check for it in your swing. It's a very easy way. We're going to start here with our good alignment like we worked on last week. We'll take your setup and we'll bring your club back to checkpoint number 1 right here. That's a checkpoint where your golf club is parallel to the ground, and if everything's going well, it ought to be parallel to your target line right here. And right there we'll look at your club face. If your face is pointing straight up in the air, it's open. If it's pointed up like this, where the face is looking to the sky, it's definitely open, and your golf ball is going to go to the right, and you're going to lose distance. I like to see the club at 11 o'clock. Now, how do we get there? It's not too hard, and what we really need to do is we need to take a neutral setup. Now, a neutral setup is one that allows your golf club to be square. Equal chance of being maybe a little bit open or a little bit closed, but it doesn't tend to want to be too open. So what we're going to do is we'll stand nice and relaxed here, let your arms hang down by your side, and look at how your palms hang. They don't hang open like this, they face your thighs, and that's how we want to grab the golf club. So we'll put the club in your left hand, bring it around, put your right hand on, and if everything's going right there, you're going to see what I like to call 2 knuckles and 2 nails. You'll see 2 knuckles on your left hand, you'll see 2 nails on your right hand. That's a neutral grip for me. Take my nice square setup again, get my club aligned properly, turn it back to my checkpoint number 1, and I should see that club at 11 o'clock. Bring it up to the top of my swing. I've got my left wrist nice and flat, my club face is square. Bring it on back down to impact. I don't have to worry about turning or twisting my club face at all. Probably going to be square. How am I going to know? I'm going to watch that ball. That ball's going to fly nice and straight. I know I've got it. Remember, get your club face square, get your grip neutral, and you'll be a happy golfer. We'll see you next week on the next edition of Poor Richard's Golf Academy. Hi, Rick Hurd with your website tip of the week from the Poor Richard's Golf Academy on the Golf Channel. Today's tip has to do with one of our proverbs from the Poor Richard's Golf Academy, and it's called "The lefter you aim, the righter it goes," and it has all to do with alignment. You've got to have perfect alignment in order to play like the pros, and the pros practice correctly, so the first thing we're going to do is make sure we practice correctly with good alignment. We're going to use a couple of aiming sticks on the ground right here. We'll put one aiming stick on the ground that's aimed directly at our target. We'll have another aiming stick parallel to that one, just over on the side, right where our toes will go. And then we want to hit golf balls. Put your golf ball on a tee to make sure you have a nice lie. We'll come over here, we'll make sure our toes get parallel to the aiming stick, take our setup, make a nice swing, and there you go. Now, if the ball doesn't go where I was aimed, at least I know it wasn't my alignment that's at fault. So the last thing I should do would be to correct my alignment by aiming in a different way. You got to have good alignment, and that's going to show us if we've got another swing flaw going on. So, bottom line, make sure you practice like the pros, set up an alignment and aiming area for practice, and hit all the balls you want. Thank you very much.